Welcome back to Politics Tonight, and I still have Ilemona Onoja, head of new media department of the PDP Presidential Campaign Council. All right. Now, Peter Obi wanted to run for the presidency on the platform of PDP before he joined Labour Party. How do you feel about his rising popularity since dumping the PDP?
Mr. Peter Obi is a person for whom I have a lot of respect. I think that having started his political career in APGA, he came to the People's Democratic Party where his national outlook was largely shaped and influenced. And I look at him sometimes with a sense of pride that our party was able to birth someone who depicts that the sort of characteristics that he does. Apart from that, I have no further feeling. I feel that he's decided to chase his ambitions elsewhere, and that's pretty much it. I wish him the best for the future. I don't wish he wins the election. I wish that my candidate wins the election, my preferred candidate. But I'm not totally averse to the idea that some of the policy propositions and some of the ideologies that he represents, a lot of them closely mirror those of the PDP. And like I said, I wish him the best for the future. That said, I'd rather just concentrate on advocacy for my preferred candidate, Atiku Abubakar, who I believe is the best candidate in the race, is the most competent candidate in the race, the most experienced candidate in the race. And I would just rather encourage Nigerians to vote for Atiku Abubakar on election day.
But many analysts are of the view that votes for Obi in this presidential election are minus for PDP. I would like you to react to that.
I don't have a reaction to that sort of analysis, to be honest. We're reaching out to people across the country, and we are campaigning to people across the country, and they're responding to us. People who would have typically, a lot of people who voted for President Muhammadu Buhari in 2019 have realized some of the errors of their ways and are willing to vote for a more competent candidate now. We have a lot of people who voted for former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who is our candidate now in 2019, and are willing to vote for him now. And we're seeing that the election dynamics are changing and being, shaped and are changing on the basis of the messages being preached by a lot of candidates. And I'll give you an example. I know of quite a large demographic of people who didn't vote for PDP in 2011 or 2015 on account of its attempt to remove fuel subsidy in 2012. Who didn't vote for PDP in 2015 on account of its attempt to remove fuel subsidy in 2012. Who have now realized that that policy is the best thing that Nigeria could have done, and who are now determined to vote for PDP on account of our commitment to removing fuel subsidies, liberalizing the market, and ensuring that the market controls the price, freeing up funds so that we can apply those funds for health, for education, and for social welfare, and for improving the lifestyle and welfare and well-being of Nigerians.
Mr. Onoja.
And because of that, people who didn't vote for us in 2015. Sorry.
Now, what this analyst has said is that...
you were saying something.
Yes, what this analyst has said, or what they feel, is that Obi will split the votes that are supposed to go to the PDP. Are you comfortable with this?
I can say something. And I mean, this is my thought on this. Even if Peter Obi splits the votes that will go to the PDP, it won't stop our victory. What it will do, at best, is reduce the margin of victory. So potentially, if we could have won this with maybe 7-8 million votes, potentially maybe we win it with 5, or maybe with 4 million votes. That is the extent to which vote splitting will affect the PDP. It won't stop the PDP from winning. It will only, at the best, assuming without conceding that the analysts are correct, at best, it will only reduce the margin of victory. It won't stop the victory. The victory of the PDP in the 2023 presidential election is inevitable. What we'll be discussing, what those analysts are pointing out, is the margin of victory, nothing more.
All right. The Southeast and the South-South used to be the stronghold of the PDP. But with Obi in the picture, people feel PDP has lost ground. So what is the PDP leveraging on to win the 2023 elections?
I'll tell you certain things. The PDP used to have strongholds all over the country. PDP still has strongholds all over the country. So for instance, states like Katsina, the PDP state until not long ago. Kebbi, no, not Kebbi. Katsina was a PDP state. Kaduna was a PDP state. Plateau is a PDP state. Niger was a PDP state. And I can go on. Jigawa was a PDP state. I can go on and continue calling them. These are all states that we are now confident are returning to the PDP fold. I can go on and tell you about states in North Central, for instance. Wow. PDP state became APCs, returning to the PDP, will return to the PDP fold. And I'm confident to say this because we've been polling for a while, and I've been looking at the polls, and I've seen the responses that have come to our messaging and the acceptance that has been given to the party and its presidential candidate. And so even though Peter Obi is now a factor that was previously not there in the election, and we have to legislate for that, and we have to plan for that, and we're thinking of that, the PDP is making gains in states that we lost in 2019. I make bold to say that we're going to win a lot of states in the north that we lost in 2019. And we'll not just win them, we'll win them comfortably with a significant margin. So yes, there's a little bit of give and take here and there. And it's not just across northern Nigeria. We're going to win states across the 6 geopolitical zones. I make bold to say that if you look at the calculations, any dispassionate analyst will tell you that there's only one presidential candidate who shows the probability, of meeting the constitutional requirement of 25% of the vote in a minimum of 24 states. That's the candidate of the People's Democratic Party. So we're not a regional candidate. We're a candidate, that is built on the basis of support from across the country.
Mr. Onoja, I'm talking about the Southeast and the South-South. What is your party leveraging on to win the 2023 elections?
In the Southeast and the South-South?
Yes.
Our strong connections with the people. These two places, we've always maintained very strong connections with the people. We hear their voices, we hear their pain, we see their suffering under the last 7.5 years of the President Muhammadu Buhari and led APC administration, and we have communicated with them to express to them our plans and policy projections for the future. Same that we've done elsewhere, but we've done that in the Southeast and the South-South as well. And I'm very sure that in spite of Mr. Peter Obi's candidature, in spite of that, we'll also do a very significant showing in the South-South, and we will maintain strongholds. We'll do a significant showing in the Southeast, and we will maintain strongholds in the South-South. In spite of his of his candidature, we will do those things.
All right. The G5 crisis continues to fester. Why is this difficult for the PDP to resolve?
I don't know how to answer that question. I know that there are still ongoing efforts to find a solution. And I know that negotiations have continued and discussions have continued and have gone on all this time, and that the possibilities, the probabilities of being able to find a solution to this dispute exist. I know that people like my boss, former President of the Senate, Dr. Abubakar Bukola Saraki, are very well involved in the ongoing conversations to try to bring together the disputing parts of the party. Be that as it may, as was demonstrated in Oyo, the support base of the party isn't overtly affected by this dispute. We saw, for instance, in Oyo State, which is the first G5 state to which we are going to campaign, how much the party structure responds still to the candidate of the party and the leadership of the party, how committed the structure of the party still is to the candidate, to the commitment, to the determination to win the presidential elections, and how much they display a commitment to going out to do the work that is required to win the presidential elections. We saw that in Oyo. We will see that in all the other G5 states. Because no one person, the PDP is a party that is built on a solid foundation, solid ideological foundation, when no one person controls the organs of the party. It's not a Baba Sokwe party where a leader sits down in his house and gives an instruction and everybody has to comply. We've always encouraged debate along the broad spectrum of ideas and principles, knowing that it is only when we do that and we debate that we're able to reach a broad-based consensus that carries everybody along. Like my boss, Dr. Bukola Saraki, was saying on a television program a few days ago, there's been no doubt as to there's been no lack of consensus as to what the G5 governors want, which is that we cannot have a candidate from the north and a national chairman from the north.
All right,
everybody agrees that national chairman is going to have to step down.
Mr. Onoja, I'm sure you know this is reminiscent of 2015 elections. I'm sure you know this is reminiscent of 2015 elections when 5 governors left the PDP. Many say this led to the downfall of the PDP. So what are you doing to prevent such defeats in this election?
No, it's very different from the situation around in 2015. Remember that the 5 governors in the party have constantly restated their commitment to the party and their commitment to candidates of the party at all level winning elections. Remember that. Very different. By this time in 2015, the governors had left. And there had been discussions and negotiations had completely broken down. And there was no progress. In fact, like I said, they had left. That's not the case here. I'm telling you that as recently as just this week, conversations have gone on. There are ongoing negotiations at the highest possible levels in the political party. The G5 governors at every forum where they are restate their commitment to the political party and say that they want the party to win elections. So there's already a very significant difference from 2014, 2015.
All right.
It's right there.
Okay. Former President Obasanjo recently endorsed Peter Obi to be the next president rather than your candidate, Atiku, who was his former deputy. How do you feel about this?
Anybody who says that the endorsement given by the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, is not a significant thing is either politically naive or is dishonest. I'm not either one of those two things, I'll say it. I regarded it as a little bit of we wished it didn't happen. We wished that, he endorsed the best candidate in the race. But having said that, the most important endorsement is the endorsement of the Nigerian people. The most important endorsement comes on the 25th of February, 2023, when 94 million registered Nigerian citizens, or somewhere around that number, are encouraged to go out and cast their votes in favor of, their preferred candidates. We're appealing to Nigerians, we're engaging with Nigerians, we're receiving the feedback of Nigerians, and we're seeing that gives us the edge, that places us comfortably as the candidate to beat in the election. I have no grudge with former President Obasanjo's endorsement, which came in that rather lengthy letter. But I'll point out that 2 things happened. In that letter, there was the objective conclusion, and then there was the subjective one. The objective conclusion is that Nigeria has never been this badly run. That is a statistical fact that is accepted across the world. That Nigeria has never been this poor, Nigeria has never been this in debt, Nigeria has never been this insecure, Nigeria has never been this unproductive. That is objective. And that is based on statistical fact. And so to that extent, I agree with President Olusegun Obasanjo. However, where we deviate, where we disagree, is where he now enters into the realm of the subjective, where he says, that this is the best candidate to be president. That now defies the basis of statistical fact. Again, statistical fact being that for instance, as Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and Chairman of the National Economic Council, the candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, led Nigeria through some of her best economic years. Statistical fact. Statistical fact, again, Atiku Abubakar spearheaded some of the most potent, some of the deepest reforms ever done in Nigerian history for telecoms, for banking, for pension, for health insurance, for education. Again, statistical fact. So when we take it into consideration, we see that President Obasanjo started on an objective, factual basis, which the whole world is agreed on, and then deviated and entered into a more subjective era. It is his right to do so. It is his constitutional right to do so.
All right.
But I would rather that we just stuck to the facts. And the facts are, my candidate is simply the most qualified in the election.
All right. The big crisis against the PDP presidential candidate is corruption allegations regarding special purpose vehicles. How are you handling this?
The first instinct is to laugh. This is the first instinct because it's a completely laughable thing. Let me tell you why I say so. This is political big brother that the APC and its dramatis personae, Mr. Festus Keyamo, SAN, are trying to lead us to. They don't want us to focus on the substantive issues. What are the substantive issues? I've recounted them several times. Instead, they are telling Nigerians to forget about their pain and their sorrow and focus on a scandal that doesn't exist. This is the second time. In 2019, it was a similar thing that there was similar drama he did when he pushed my friend, Diton Coupe, to public limelight to say all sorts of funny things about the PDP. We've been vindicated over the years from that, and in the same manner that we'll be vindicated.
Mr. Onoja.
Why do I laugh?
Mr. Onoja, these are very
Looking at
weighty,
this as a lawyer,
these are
I'm going
very
to
weighty
specifically
allegations.
address.
Kindly hold on. These are very weighty
I'm going to
allegations.
specifically address them. I want to specifically.
Are you saying Nigerians should sweep this under the carpet?
I want to specifically address the allegations.
All right.
No, I don't want to. I hope that we get the opportunity to clarify before a court. That's what this is. But these are very, as weighty as they may seem, these are empty allegations. The use of this voice, purportedly the voice of Atiku Abubakar, said a number of things. One, I don't want corruption. It was right there in the audio. One, I don't want corruption. Two, I don't want, no money came to me. Two, no money came to me. Let us now address the issues. To be able, for these allegations to make any sort of sense, and to be anything more than the political big brother that they are, you have to bring particulars of the crime that were committed. And I'll give you an example. You have to say what contracts were awarded in violation of the provisions of the Public Procurement Act and governmental processes relating to the awards of contracts. You have to say what contracts were given that were paid for and were not executed. You have to say how or what contracts were overinflated and were not, or either were not executed fully or executed in part, or that we paid more than we should have for. You have to say, that the company, you have to show that maybe the companies didn't pay tax or were given illegal tax waivers. You have to give more than, this is a thief, hang him. You have to give more than that. We are a nation of laws.
All right, so you agree that this should be taken to the court? Mr. Onoja, so you agree that this should be taken to the court?
I believe that if this is taken to a courtroom, you will find one judgment. There is no judge no judge who will find anything more than that this is a waste of time. When it does get to court, I hope that a judge will be courageous enough to look Mr. Festus Keyamo in the eye and tell him that he's come to waste the time of the court and then to fine him for wasting the time of the court. This is a waste of time.
All right.
As Minister of State for Labour, Mr. Festus Keyamo will be better served telling the Nigerian people why we should trust his political party after it has bequeathed us with 52% youth unemployment and 33% unemployment in general. That is what is directly within Mr. Festus Keyamo's purview. He should be telling us why under his watch have we gone from 8% unemployment in 2015 to 33%
All right, Mr.
in 2023.
All right.
That's what he should be telling us.
We're gradually running out of time.
This thing is a waste of time. It's political big brother. I'll use that phrase. It is what it is. Political big brother.
Mr. Onoja, we're gradually running out of time. But tell me, how will you describe INEC's preparation for the elections?
I believe that INEC is showing a high sense of commitment to the process. I believe that the innovations brought about by INEC, the publication, the open publication of the voters register, the use of the biometric bimodal voter accreditation system, BVAS, and other such innovations in the new Electoral Act, and INEC's commitment to using these new innovations show that we will have a higher level of electoral integrity than we've had in recent years.
All right.
That said, we also see that INEC is facing significant challenges. I have to highlight the ongoing attack and assault on
we're out of time.
Installations, INEC offices, and INEC staff, particularly in the southeastern part of the country, particularly in Imo State. I think that is something something should be done about.
We're out of time already. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
Speaking with the head of New Media, Department of the PDP Presidential Campaign Council, Ilemona Onoja. Thank you for coming on Politics Tonight. It's been an interesting conversation.
Thank you very much for having me, Olajumoke.
All right. And thank you very much for watching. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Good night.